So as we move forward after 9/11 and Richard Reed, we had a few years of not too much going on in terms of aviation security. So as we move forward, then the question becomes, what other attempts have we seen? Well, we've seen attempts to circumvent the traditional aviation security protocols in virtually all airports around the world. I mean, they are creative in their design, construction, concealment, and so how can we best detect that and make sure that that doesn't get on a flight either within the U.S. or to the U.S. When the same bomb maker, who I mentioned did the underwear plot and his younger brother assassination plot, made two devices that fit in toner cartridges of printers. Parcels, boxes were shipped from Sana'a, Yemen to Chicago, and one went on a UPS flight and another a FedEx flight. And in those toner cartridges, there was enough explosives to probably bring those flights down. There was no security screening that detected those devices, but because of great intelligence by some foreign security officers, in fact, that same Saudi prince I mentioned called a good friend of his in the U.S. government to say, do you know about these bombs? We have the tracking numbers for those two packages. That's what you call specific, credible intelligence. Yeah. And our counterparts in the United Arab Emirates and the UK then were able to track those devices down, the boxes, pull them out, open them up, pulled out the computer printers and said, no, there's no bomb here. They could actually take the toner cartridge out of the printer and still didn't detect a bomb. That's how well this bomb maker is in terms of devising and constructing and concealing innovative improvised explosive devices. The good news is all the intelligence tells us that the plots are coming from overseas. The threat has evolved significantly, and it is that non-metallic IED, largely coming from an overseas location, but that's why we have to be focused here. So a number of challenges about how do we protect soft targets. The concern is that AQAP is good at propaganda. They put out an online magazine called Inspire magazine, which is just what its name implies. They want to inspire others to commit attacks, and they even talk about, don't worry about traveling, just learn how to do this. We'll show you how to build these type devices and to commit your attack here in the homeland, if you're here in the US or in Western Europe. So that's a concern. Is there a new breed of terrorists who may have never traveled, because that's one way we in the US and other governments can identify potential terrorists, is they've traveled and they've been trained. And I mean, who would have guessed, going on 5 years ago, that a 24-year-old Nigerian son of a prominent banker who had studied abroad, studied in the UK and all that he would be the next closest successful suicide bomber on a plane. So that's something that it could be anybody, frankly. So the fact that was mentioned, the homegrown violent extremist, the ease of radicalization through the internet. So that whole notion of how can they inspire others who we don't even know about today. So there's a whole set of people who are on terrorist watch lists, for example, and no-fly lists and secondary screening lists. And those are not the ones I have concern about. When I was the deputy director of the FBI, and I before that oversaw all of counterterrorism, we had a number of people under investigation. Frankly, I wasn't concerned about them because we knew of them. And if they were of real concern, we had good coverage of them, human, technical coverage. So we had a good sense. I frankly wasn't concerned that they were going to commit a terrorist attack. It's those who had not come up on anybody's radar. So that's one of the challenges that we face moving forward in a free and democratic society, especially here, Western Europe. How do we balance that security and then the protection of people? And I think that's a debate you'll see more and more of in Europe as we move forward.
It's a human vision, a legacy we want to leave behind us.